Hey everyone, Mark here from Blumoo, and today we're going to dive into the world of super zoom cameras. Now, if you're anything like me, you love getting up close to the action, whether you're capturing wildlife in the great outdoors or snapping pics of your favorite sports events from the stands. And let's be honest, getting closer without moving an inch, that's pretty cool, right? But with so many options out there, it can be kind of overwhelming trying to find the perfect super zoom camera that meets your needs. So, I've done the homework, and I'm going to walk you through some of the best super zoom cameras on the market. We'll look at features, zoom capabilities, and of course, got to talk about image quality. And don't worry, I've made it super easy for you to find these cameras. Just check out the links in the description below. All right, let's zoom in and get started. Okay, so let's talk about the Canon PowerShot SX70HS, which is a pretty neat super zoom camera. For those of you who are big into getting up close and personal with like wild animals or distant objects, but don't want to lug around a ton of equipment, this could be a really good option for you. It's got a crazy 65x optical zoom lens, which is like super impressive for a camera in this class. And that's equivalent to about 21 to 1365 millimeters on a traditional camera. Now, one of the things I really like about the SX70HS is that it comes with a 20.3 megapixel sensor, which gives you some pretty sharp images, and it's pretty good when you're shooting in well-lit situations. But, it's worth mentioning that when you're pushing it in low light, things can get a bit grainy, so that's something to keep in mind. And the autofocus system is decent. It's not like the fastest out there, but it does the job well enough for most situations. And let's not forget the video capabilities, right? It shoots 4K video, which is kind of cool because you don't always find that in super zoom cameras. But just be aware that there's no microphone input, which is a bit of a bummer if you're trying to get high-quality audio for your videos. But overall, for an all-in-one super zoom camera, the SX70HS is quite the package, especially if you're after something for like casual wildlife photography or even just to have as an all-rounder when you're traveling. So, let's talk about the Nikon Coolpix P1000. This thing, guys, it's practically a telescope that takes pictures. I mean, the zoom on this camera is ridiculous. It's got this optical zoom that goes up to 125x, right? And digital zoom that basically doubles that. You could be standing in your backyard, and suddenly, you're taking close-ups of craters on the moon. The detail is crisp, too, as it's got this 16 megapixel sensor, which does a pretty decent job even in, less than ideal lighting conditions. Now, you might be thinking, with all that zoom, my photos are going to be like, all shaky. But Nikon's got you covered with this dual detect optical VR. It basically steadies your shots, giving you a steadier hand than you actually have, which is pretty cool. But yeah, let's not fool ourselves. If you're at max zoom, you'll want a tripod, or at least like a super steady surface to lay this beast on, because it's hefty, guys. It's not your pocket-friendly point and shoot. Alright, so the not-so-fun part, it's a bit on the slow side. Like, it takes a second to focus, especially if you're at full zoom, and the processing speeds aren't going to win any races. So it's not for, action shots where you need, like, rapid-fire catching every millisecond. But for nature shots, bird watching, or even amateur astronomy, this camera can be pretty amazing. Just be prepared for that bulk and the slight learning curve to get the most out of it. So let's talk about the Sony CyberShot DSC HX99, yeah? If you're on the prowl for a super zoom camera, this little guy screams convenience. Now, the zoom on this thing, it's pretty outstanding for its size. We're talking 24-720mm zoom lens, which is nuts when you consider it's all packed into a body that can slip into your pocket. Imagine that kind of range at like a concert or while you're traveling. You can get close-up shots of a performer on stage or snag pictures of, a falcon in mid-flight. It's got some decent power behind it. But let's not forget about the usability aspect here. The HX99 has got a control ring around the lens which you can customize, and that's really handy for like adjusting the focus or zoom quickly. Plus, it's got this pop-up electronic viewfinder. Super useful on sunny days when that rear LCD screen gets washed out. Speaking of the screen, it tilts and it's a touchscreen, which, really helps with those awkward angle shots and navigating the camera's menu. Now, on the flip side, I've got to say the image quality can, let's say it's not going to blow away the enthusiasts. At higher ISO settings, it gets a bit, grainy, but that's pretty typical of small sensors. And the battery life, it's okay, but if you're out all day, you'd want to carry a spare. Overall though, for a super zoom camera, the HX99 does pack a punch. Just remember, it's all about that balance of zoom, portability, and functionality with this one. Alright guys, that about wraps up my take on the best super zoom cameras you can get your hands on this year. If any of them caught your eye, don't forget to check out those links in the description below to get more details or snag one for yourself. And hey, if you've got a question or maybe even some of your own recommendations, go ahead and drop a comment down there. I'd love to hear from you. Make sure you subscribe for more videos like this, and take a peek at some of the other reviews I've done. You just might find something else that piques your interest. Catch you next time.